Michael Manzo thinks there is something wrong with the snow. He grabs some from outside and attempts to melt it with a butane lighter. For some reason, it becomes blackened by the flame but otherwise remains in one solid piece.
No moisture. No dripping. Look at this.
Next, Michael takes more snow and holds it over an open stove.
No moisture. Look at this. No drippage.
Somehow, the snow fails to melt in the slightest despite being held over an intense heat source twice. This leads Michael Manzo to conclude that this is some sort of artificially modified substance, made to look like snow, presumably from weather experiments of some kind. Let me know what you make of this video, because I honestly have no idea how this could be possible. This leaked video supposedly captures a secret anti-gravity experiment conducted by the government in broad daylight. A military helicopter rises in the air without moving its blades, all while making a magnetic humming sound the entire time. Listen to how bizarre distorted droning becomes more distant as the helicopter somehow flies away. There definitely seems to be something aboard causing that sound, perhaps an experimental anti-gravitational device. I don't know about you, but that definitely does not look or sound like a normal helicopter to me. I have heard that helicopters can sometimes look like this depending on the camera that's recording it, but if someone could provide me with a more concrete explanation, I would really appreciate it. Until then, I have to wonder if this really was a government anti-gravity experiment taken within plain sight of the public. This video experiment proves something which many governments do not want the general public to know. Turning objects invisible is actually way easier than you would think. Look what happens when this YouTuber lowers a basic glass test tube into vegetable oil.
But if I actually put it in far enough that the entire test tube is submerged, it vanishes almost completely.
This simple experiment proves that certain liquids can actually bend light around an object to render it invisible. The key is pairing the right reflective properties with the right objects. This basic scientific principle is what governments are currently experimenting with to create cloaking devices for humans and even aircrafts one day, if they haven't done so already. To further prove their point, this YouTuber pulls out a second test tube that's been hidden in the center of the glass the whole time. Let me know if you think this experiment really does have any military potential, or if this whole idea is too far-fetched to have any practical use. This video, supposedly taken somewhere along the beaches of New York in 1959, shows an unknown creature washed ashore. It looks like it could belong to some sort of primate species, but its torso is a little too long and its arms are a little too short, plus its entire body is nothing but pure muscle. Almost like it's been experimented on. In fact, a closer look reveals that this creature shares the combined characteristics of many different animals, everything from a panther to a bear. If this video is to be believed, then this creature hails from a mysterious nearby research facility called the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. Maybe it escaped the island on its own, or maybe it was improperly disposed of by workers after they were finished with it. Either way, what purpose it served, and what it has been infected with, if anything, has never been revealed. I do think there's a possibility that this video is fake though, because it kind of looks like it was filmed in high definition with a grainy filter. Either way, let me know what you think about its authenticity. After allegedly being aggressive, refusing to put on his seatbelt, and not being able to give clear direction due to too much to drink, this passenger was ordered out of an Uber by driver Edward Caban. That's when things got ugly. The passenger is shown in this dashcam footage going after Caban with brute force. Luckily, the driver was able to use his pepper spray before he could do much worse. The passenger was allegedly fired from his executive position at Taco Bell because of the published footage. This footage was reportedly taken on a flight somewhere over Zambia. A person is casually recording out their window when a giant humanoid creature starts to materialize in the distance. The creature seems to keep pace and ride alongside them for a moment before disengaging and twisting away. The obvious answer to this is CGI. If it's not CGI, however, then what this creature could be is anyone's guess. This footage supposedly comes from the capital of China, where a massive, slow-moving creature makes its way across the polluted city landscape. It's hard to tell how many legs this giant creature has, or what its overall intentions are. It doesn't seem to be that aggressive, but the ground shakes under its gigantic steps, and army helicopters circle above, obviously ready. According to the uploader, this footage was suppressed by the Chinese government, who has a tight grip on all forms of news and social media. This could very likely be CGI, but if it's real, then there is no information as to how this situation was ultimately resolved. The uploader of this video says that this sighting happened on the Barbados Islands sometime in 2017. A huge humanoid is stomping off in the horizon, its footsteps echoing throughout the tropical night scenery. The creature appears to have 4 long limbs and a gigantic bushy upper body that is completely covered in some kind of fur or else some kind of plant growth, possibly leaves or mold. It lets out a huge bellowing roar as it makes its way across the island. In the unlikely case this is not CGI, then what you are witnessing is definitely a modern day giant or some sort, though its true origins may never be fully understood. This Chicago police body cam shows multiple officers rushing to save a man and his dog from freezing in Lake Michigan. From a distance, it looks like the distressed person is trapped on a snowbank at first.
Sir! Someone over here!
But as the officer approaches, you can see the person is actually waist deep in freezing waters and ready to go under. The officers quickly extend a rescue cord for him to tie onto, and they yank him to safety with one strong pull.
Come on! Hold me! Got this! Hold me! Here we go! You're good! Come on! You're good! Thank you so much! You're good!
Thankfully, they are able to do the same with the dog as well. I'm guessing that he was walking his dog along the edge of the water for a nicer view when the snow gave way. The cold water must have left him practically frozen from the waist down and unable to climb out. Let me know if you agree whether or not that's what probably happened. Wintertime should be relatively snake-free, yet here one is slithering across the ice in the middle of February. The cold-blooded reptile somehow crosses the frozen pond and then moves towards the camera with slow determination. I'm not sure what type of snake this is or how it's able to survive these low temperatures. My guess is it was probably hibernating somewhere and got disturbed, but either way, a snake of this size is nothing to mess with no matter what the season. This video was taken somewhere on Kent Island in Maryland. If there are any more winter snake sightings in this area, then I'd say something strange is definitely going on over there. Trenton and his friends are having fun fishing until he loses his expensive fishing lure under the ice. Thinking fast, he finds a long stick and tries to walk across the half-frozen lake to find his lure. Some patches of ice are dangerously thin, so Trenton has to constantly poke the ice in front of him to see if it can support his weight. One false step will send him into the freezing waters below. If this happens, the ice around the edges might break away when he starts to climb out. Eventually, Trenton gives up on finding the lure and simply focuses on getting back alive. He spends almost 10 minutes carefully navigating the ice and nearly reaches the others when he makes a mistake.
You're fine.
Trenton is incredibly lucky to be back in shallow waters when this happens. His feet hit the bottom and he is able to quickly pull himself out. If this happened in the middle of the lake though, he would have been over his head and only had seconds to react. One day a YouTuber named Michelle Burse and her friends are startled to find something burrowing beneath the ice.
Oh my god. Wow.
They are positive that something is causing the ice to crack and splinter as it digs a path under their feet. While I do see what they think, I'm pretty sure that this is just the formation of ice in real time. Still, I'd like to get your opinion to confirm. If I'm wrong, then I have no idea what could be shifting the ice like that. This gray fish is frozen solid and obviously not moving at all. Yet within 20 seconds of being put in this liquid solution, something bizarre happens.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is nothing more than warm water, but maybe there is some sort of chemical in it that can bring frozen animals back to life. Then again, maybe this fish just hibernates for the winter and comes back to life naturally when the temperature warms. Let me know what you think is going on here. And if you think what you've seen is a miracle like the uploader of this video claims. A YouTuber named Florida McKee uses Google Maps to hone in on a frozen discovery in Antarctica.
You have to look at this very closely.
Peeking out from the middle of a frozen pond is what appears to be a sentient ice creature. I can somewhat make out a giant head and left arm, but I'm not sure. Let me know if you can see it.
This is only about 170 feet long, so this easily makes it very, very likely that it's a known animal, a known creature.
It's hard to tell if this is an actual creature or not just by looking at a single still image, but I do agree it could be some sort of abnormality. My only other guess is a cluster of ice above the surface. A strange creature sighting in Russia on a store camera is about as creepy and mysterious as it gets. Two people are standing outside late at night, and all of a sudden one of them is dumped on the ground. You can see something invade his space. At 12 seconds just before he falls, the other man tries to help but is of little use. Whatever has a hold on his friend is too strong, and so he runs back into the store. At 21 seconds, something briefly appears to hover over the poor man, a strange creature with little shape, perhaps paranormal, and he is pulled off camera. After 10 seconds it looks like the creature has left, and so the second man goes to check on his friend. At 42 seconds something invisible splashes a puddle in front of him, and his friend is flung through the entrance. Low quality CCTV videos are pretty easy to edit, so this video might be a fake. What do you think? A boy waves to the camera shortly before throwing a pass that his dad does not catch. As dad goes to get the ball, he unknowingly travels towards a random spiral of gusting winds. Everyone quickly backs off, but it happens too fast to even get out of the pool in time. Some people excitedly cheer as the waterspout throws a random object really high into the air. One man is helpless to do anything other than hang onto the edge of the pool as it moves over them at 17 seconds. Fortunately, they seem to be fine after. And just when it looks like things have gone back to normal, a group of chairs break apart. At least that's what it looks like at first, but it's probably just some towels getting flung around. This is a low-key terrifying moment caught on tape for sure, especially when you are relaxing on vacation and have your guard down. Diane thinks she has caught a ghost on video crossing her living room around 3 a.m. The ghost is a woman with long hair whose back is turned. For months, Diane has been feeling something paranormal in her house, and if you look closely, you'll see her cat Noah wake up and look to where the ghost of a weird woman just walked by. There are no other paranormal videos on Diane's channel at all. The rest is 3 years of content about a niche hobby that has nothing to do with the spirit world, which makes me think it could be a real paranormal incident. With that said, I found another video that shows she roughly has the same hair length, as the woman who says she was a ghost, so I'm on the fence with this one.
And it was just such a chilling investigation. I am so excited to share it with you.
Haley Reese is walking through the woods when she and her friends stumble upon an old historic building known as the Griffin House. The woods around this area are supposedly quite haunted, and so they decide to conduct an impromptu paranormal investigation. It isn't long before something spooky happens.
I'm walking around to see if there's anything that you guys can.
Really? Somebody just moved the windows! Somebody just opened the blinds! I'm not fucking kidding you! Somebody opened the blinds. Blinds are moving.
Haley's friends claim to see curtains moving with no one inside, and when Haley approaches the Griffin House at 10 minutes and 16 seconds, you can see the curtains just barely part in the middle. Determined to get better evidence of the paranormal, Haley focuses her camera squarely on the window. She's expecting to catch a ghost on video at any minute, but nothing happens for a while. Then all of a sudden...
Move the blind more. Whoa.
As Haley later explains, the building has been closed to the public for months, so no one was inside. However, it could have been a draft in the house causing the curtains to move. There does appear to be a strong breeze blowing through the trees when they see it happen. Grim Experience is a YouTuber who has been experiencing paranormal activity at not one, but two separate homes.
Okay, you know how her house is haunted. We explored the basement the other day. Clearly haunted.
It really is.
I ain't ever going over there again.
There's so many stories, like I could write a book.
His wife was using the Ouija board, and now they think something followed them out of her basement and into their home. They decide to go ghost hunting at 3 a.m. in a room full of collectible dolls. What they've caught on tape is beyond creepy, but is it paranormal? Let's take a look.
And they said, give us a sign. And then all of a sudden,
Alright, can we have to talk about
the flowers started rising up out of the...
He is in the middle of telling us what happened in the basement when he is interrupted by an avalanche of dolls caught on video falling over. He's so into his story that he runs forward seconds before the dolls fall, so perhaps his pounding footsteps are to blame. Except look again. At 1 minute and 50 seconds, Grim sees a demonic ghost face grinning back at him. The ghost must have attached itself to one of the dolls, and when the dolls moved, it was because the ghost was feeding off his wife's fear. This urban exploration video comes to you from Thailand, and the title of this video roughly translates into English as Abandoned House in the Middle of the Forest No One Dared to Explore. This modest-looking home holds some strange and bizarre things that are worth taking a closer look at. Secrets I doubt we can explain. He stumbles upon an oversized shoe print. Translate his observations if you can.
นี่ก็น่าจะเป็นตรงนี้เป็นไม้ครับแต่ตรงนี้ผมสังเกตดูว่าเหมือนจะมีเหมือนรอยเท้า
In the next room are two equally old footprints, even bigger and wider now.
แล้วข้างในก็จะเป็นโอ้คุณผู้ชมนี่ผมมีรอยเท้าด้วยครับผมมีรอยเท้าด้วยครับผม
The same person has apparently removed their shoes to walk barefoot for some reason across this disgusting floor. It's like they grew out of their shoes or something, almost like a bizarre transformation took place. Some people are saying that this is an unfinished house, while others say this looks like a crematorium. I don't know why either one would be in the middle of the forest, but I do know this is a creepy situation that I hope we can piece together and better explain.
Well, I found or saw a mysterious creature around 4 in the morning.
A YouTuber named Bishop has caught a creature on Doorbell cam that he can't explain. The video looks like a bug, except Bishop says that the motion sensor absolutely will not turn on for insects of any kind. There are wings, but he says they could possibly belong to some kind of humanoid creature. Whatever it is, it does something really weird next after it lands under the bench. It just kind of, well, disappears. It doesn't fly away and it doesn't crawl under the bench. It just vanishes. Something that an ordinary insect wouldn't do. It could be time-lapse editing because the ground gets darker when it disappears, signifying that some time has passed. I'm almost positive that this one isn't real, but let me know what you think. Willard is hiking Horseshoe Falls in Colorado when he decides he wants to try to climb a cliff. The path is steeper than it looks, and soon he has to put more of his weight on the rocks, which look kind of loose to begin with. Rushing waters are below him, and when he admits defeat and tries to climb back down, everything goes wrong. Whoa! A large rock comes loose and thankfully rolls the opposite way, instead of onto his head. He wedges himself between two rocks and says that if he lost his footing, he could have been taken underwater. Meanwhile, his friend looks back with hardly a care. Overall, I'm just glad he didn't break anything, or else it would have been a long and expensive airlift to the nearest hospital. I would really like it if someone who speaks Spanish could tell me what this reporter is saying. He seems to be pointing at something moments before he has a scary encounter caught on live TV news.
Como bien lo dicen, nos encontramos específicamente en Valle Dorado, en el municipio de Tlalnepantla, Estado de México. Y es que mira, la lluvia fue tan fuerte en este punto de la ciudad que para que tú tengas una idea, mira este poste de luz.
At 28 seconds, it looks like he thinks he's stepping into a shallow end, but apparently there isn't one to be found. Now he has dirty water in his eyes and needs help to get out, but to his credit, he holds onto the microphone the entire time. Talk about true job dedication. I'm glad they were able to pull him out because he might have had a hard time climbing up the muddy slope himself. I really hope he didn't swallow any of that water, because who knows what kind of bacteria is in it. A scary moment is caught on live TV for this Polish reporter who steps away from some screens and almost takes himself out. He's probably a few feet off the ground, which is a lot higher up than it sounds when you're free falling backwards. Fortunately, he recovers and keeps going with the story like a pro. On May 15th, 2018, a creepy individual gets caught on camera by a YouTuber named Ash Vlogs, and she's worried this strange encounter could be with a lurker. You tell me. She wakes up only to find a car she doesn't recognize parked across from her apartment and feels like a creepy lurker is watching her through her slightly opened blinds.
I don't want to go back to sleep because there's just this guy sitting here looking in like, what is...
Or maybe it's nothing. It's 5 a.m. and when you're half asleep, it's hard to even hold the camera, let alone analyze the situation. Ash thinks it's a strange sighting for sure, but she doesn't confront her lurker just in case she's wrong. She doesn't get the license plate of her potential lurker on tape either, but at least she has a general car description. And his creepy behavior is caught on camera.
Finally. You. Jesus Christ, look at the time, guys. 5 in the morning.
The strange encounter stays on her mind all day, and so she puts it on YouTube for further analysis. It's the only scary thing she's caught on video so far, but it's not the last. She makes normal vlogs for a full year, until the creepy lurker returns, this time with others too, a whole group of them. So her friend Jordan is shopping, and this person dressed in all black is looking for him. The man dressed in black rounds the aisle and appears to talk to Jordan, probably saying his name out loud to make sure it's him. The network of lurkers are highly advanced, well prepared and ready to confront Jordan, who doesn't know what to expect as a group overpowers him. He is then taken. I can't imagine what happens next. I have a feeling this is an art project, but if it is real, then I feel really bad for Jordan. A YouTuber named MKP Studios wants to record some creepy Alexa moments on camera, so he decides to ask Alexa some creepy questions to see how scary Alexa can get. He starts off by asking Alexa a question about passing away. At first, he receives a thoughtful reply.
Everyone has their own views on that question.
But then he makes the mistake of asking the same question twice.
Ask that once more. Alexa, what happens after death? She just straight up doesn't answer that second time.
He says that Alexa mysteriously turns off by itself, but at 4 minutes and 8 seconds, it looks like there was some quick editing to make it look like that's what happened. Anyway, there's one creepy question that you should never ask Alexa, so that's exactly what he starts asking.
Give me the 5-9.
Proceed carefully, because your choices are recorded, and your every move is watched.
There are no cuts this time, at least none that I can see. It seems like Alexa just straight up warned him that he was under surveillance for saying some kind of code phrase. He's already feeling watched and paranoid, and what makes this scary Alexa moment even scarier is that Alexa won't stop referring to him as a friend.
So,
hello, friend.
Alexa,
welcome to the Daily
stop.
Hello, friend.
What the is happening? Alexa, stop talking.
Hello, friend.
The only way to make Alexa stop saying the mysterious response is to unplug it. Later on, he decides why not see if he can get some scary Suri responses too. To be honest, Suri responds with mostly normal answers. That is, until the program slips up and possibly reveals who it's really working for.
Hey Siri, can I speak to the devil?
Sure, I'm here.
That's creepy.
He can't believe what he hears, so he decides to ask Siri the same question in a different way, hoping to get a different response. This time he uses a word I can't say. It's another name for the Lord of the Underworld.
Can I talk to
Of course, that's what I'm here for. Go ahead.
No such luck. Suri responds. Suri answers the question both times in the affirmative. I definitely agree that such a scary response from Suri would be creepy to hear, especially while alone in your house. I'm hoping that Suri somehow misheard him both times, but something tells me it knows exactly what he's asking. I wouldn't recommend asking Suri and Alexa any creepy questions unless you want some strange moments of your own. Founded in 1969, MUFON is a collection of possible sightings caught on tape by civilians across the world. The organization examines unexplainable events in the sky to help make sense of them, but over the years there's been a lot of strange sightings caught on video, too many to make sense of. Some scary things in the sky were caught on camera in the UK from 2015 to 2018, and they look kind of like the same sighting. The first sighting occurred over London on July 5th, 2015. A person was drinking tea while looking at the sky when they noticed that one of the birds flying overhead was not a bird at all. They adjust the camera and watch the strange aircraft poke through a cloud before it disappears. Compare this video to another strange sky sighting in the UK in October of 2018. That was uploaded 3 years later. They caught it on tape, but the camera is shaky. Still, despite the video being shaky, it still does look like the same round black dot as the other sighting, and the object moves at roughly the same rate of speed. I was thinking these could be experimental drone videos or something along those lines, but then, on January 9th, 2017, we finally get to see the mysterious aircraft get a closer look, and it just makes everything even more unexplainable. These scary things were seen in the sky at night, hanging low over a building in Gosport, UK, close to where the other videos were taken. I know this isn't a drone video, because it starts out as one light and within seconds it splits into two.
We've now come back, two of them now back.
One moment the lights in the sky are white, then they come back as blue. The mysterious lights disappear over the buildings as they slowly sink towards Earth, and that's the last anyone's seen of them for years. So there you have it, 3 unexplained events caught on camera over the UK skies that could be related and never have been solved. This underwater video was shot aboard the EV Nautilus, a famous research vessel owned by the same person who found the sunken Titanic. Little does the crew know they are moments away from yet another mystifying discovery, this time in the Gulf Coast of Mexico. Off in the distance, they spy a giant creature coming at them fast. You can hear both surprise and fear in their voice as they order the captain to retreat.
What?
Or it could be fishing line. You don't want that.
Back up.
Huge siphonophore.
It could be.
What looks like a long floating rope of intestine is actually a creature known only as a siphonophore. I'm not sure if it is being carried by the currents or moving on its own, but at one point it does come close to the team and almost seems to demonstrate a limited degree of curiosity as it hovers nearby. If you think this particular specimen is large, they can actually grow to be hundreds of feet long. Siphonophores are carnivores, but thankfully for us humans, this one seems to prefer the bottom of the ocean floor, far away from where we tend to swim. This video, taken in Jacksonville, Florida, and posted to YouTube by the Jacksonville Zoo, momentarily shows a gigantic dinosaur-looking creature with an impossibly long neck that stretches up to meet the roof of a nearby building. You only get to see the creature for a split second before they take off and keep running, which seems like a realistic response to me. However, since the creature does not move at all, it could be a statue or CGI. Also, the beginning of the video shows them just kind of standing around, and I really doubt something of that size could sneak up so close without anyone noticing. Nobody is sure what the US forces are doing in this 2014 video taken from an undisclosed location somewhere in New Mexico apparently. Soldiers kneel down as a blast rips through the air. It looks like it hits nothing at all, but then the edges of the ripple inward to reveal what could be the outline of a giant round invisible creature. Some people are claiming this is simply a drill using new technology we don't know about. Others say that this is not an exercise at all, but rather a real desert battle with a creature. Listen to the noise it makes and tell me if you think this is the sound of a passing fighter jet or the terrifying roar of a real monster.
Dash 3, good hits.
On this night in Florida, a YouTuber named Deer Meat for Dinner is after a different type of wild game than his name would suggest, something much more dangerous. You'll have to go to his channel to see exactly how they managed to land this giant creature, because it's a battle that unfortunately I can't show here, but the end result is just as terrifying as the battle itself. 4 grown men struggle to pull a gator aboard, whose jaws are easily as broad as their shoulders. Every square inch is a battle that brings the boat closer to its tipping point. They have to take numerous breaks, and for a while it looks like they might lose their grip and let their catch sink to the bottom. The entire time I'm waiting for the gator to snap back to life. As they roll it onto the boat, Deer Meat for Dinner orders everyone away from the tail that could easily snap a leg. When they get back, the team needs an actual heavy-duty crane to lift the giant beast up and get a final measurement. It's 13 feet and 2 inches long and weighs 1,127 pounds, a new Florida record. I feel like you can really gain a better idea of its size from this angle. The YouTuber is a pretty tall guy, and this thing's tail alone comes up all the way to his head. Barrett Rods is spending the day kayak fishing when a terrifying creature suddenly takes flight above water. At first it just sits on the surface and then it makes its move. The bizarre creature is larger than Barrett's arm. It has a snake-like body, a large hole for a mouth, and 2 elongated fins that look very sharp to the touch. At 8 seconds into the video, Barrett raises his hands in surprise, but I doubt it would have been enough to protect him. Fortunately, the animal changes its trajectory at the last second and silently sinks back into the water. I guess it must have bitten through the fishing line. This giant flat creature is actually a beached oarfish laying on its side. A confirmed bystander pushes it back into the water with her paddle, which could be a mistake because it proceeds to head directly for the person holding the camera.
Oh my god.
Although it seems more concerned with getting away than taking a bite, this is still not an animal that I would want to have anywhere near me, especially in such shallow waters. It almost seems to make eye contact as it passes directly under her feet before straightening out and swimming away.
What are you doing here now? Show off.
This video supposedly comes from a captured alien who is being held somewhere within the Area 51 outpost. When they ask it where it is from, the alien gives a surprising response. It goes on to explain that traveling through time is the same as traveling through space, though his answers always remain cryptic and sometimes impossible to understand. This video is probably not real because the alien sounds like a basic voice changer app, but then again it does look very lifelike and convincing at times, especially when it becomes displeased and ends the interview abruptly. Luis Camacho is getting his mail one sunny day when he suddenly stops and looks around. It's hard to describe, but somehow his surroundings feel different and mysterious. He soon locates the source of his bad feeling. After getting onto his hands and knees and peering into the sewer grate, this is what he sees down a long tunnel. A giant alligator looks back at him, its mouth wide open. It lets out a ferocious hiss as a warning sign not to come any closer. The two of them hold eye contact, and then Luis quickly backs away to call the authorities. The alligator was removed shortly thereafter, but Luis will never forget how close he came to having to fight for his survival. It would have been a struggle that he probably would not have won. One more thing, look closely at the tape. And you'll see a small green ball resting by the alligator. I can't help but wonder if, moments before this recording, a small child or dog went to retrieve the ball and saw the same thing that Luis did. A YouTuber named Leviathan is on a hiking trip when he hears strange noises in the distance. Just when he seriously suspects that he's not alone in the woods, a series of large footprints confirms his suspicions. He now fears for his safety and has already decided to leave when he hears the same noises again, much closer now than before. The predatory call encourages him to make a quick retreat back to civilization. Leviathan still has no idea what was making this noise or exactly how large it was. A South Korean ghost hunter named Tosachi is exploring a haunted house where 7 people met a fateful end, including a husband and wife. The inside is weird and creepy in his words, and give the paranormal investigator goosebumps to explore. He knows that multiple spirits are close, he can sense them, and then one of them gets his attention.
뭐야?
Faint knocking sounds behind him are from a ghost at the window begging to be let in. This relic is keeping them away. It's a stick with thorns which, in South Korean culture, is said to keep the spirits from entering when placed above the entrance.
있어.
Every time he tries to go outside and catch a ghost on tape, his motion tracking software keeps freezing, a sign that they are near. The spirits are waiting for him to remove the relic and let them back inside where they belong. He removes the stick and waits. They walk in through the front door. And he feels a rising horror as one passes through him.
Oh! 옆에 있어, 씨발! 진짜 옆에 있어!
But unfortunately, his paranormal equipment continues to shut off just before the ghost sighting is caught on tape. Finally, when he gets it back on, a ghost appears in the dark hallway. There is nothing on the screen to mistake for a person, just total darkness, and yet the ghost hunting equipment identifies a mysterious shadow figure moving past. And when Tosachi returns to the window where he heard knocking noises before, he sees another full-fledged ghost figure in the window. At 19 minutes and 20 seconds, it stands in the hall, apparently glad to be allowed inside again. It climbs up to sit in the window and, at 19 minutes and 29 seconds, appears to wave hello. Scary, right? Dominic Marquez of Albuquerque, New Mexico, says you're definitely going to believe his ghost sighting caught on CCTV video is real when you see it. Somebody is walking down the street when all of a sudden, they're simply not.
There he is. You're too fast. Right there. Ghost.
It's real, dog. The person morphs into a floating orb and briefly becomes human again, before going back into its second form. And to top off an already bizarre video, this creepy thing happens next.
Bro, I'm telling you, there's nobody there.
The neighbor's rather bright motion detector lights turn on when the ghost walks by. Nothing's there. If it was a CCTV glitch on Dominic's camera, then why would motion lights go on across the street? It looks like he was right about me believing this paranormal video is real. Bob Osborne flies down a bumpy mountainous road in Bolivia. With little concern for his health or safety, the 7-minute downhill race is filled with large rocks like this one. He navigates the obstacle just in time. Look how slow this van is driving. That's the appropriate speed for such a treacherous road, yet it's quickly passed. Keep in mind this vehicle could easily kick a rock straight into their dirt bike at any time and send them careening to their doom. They eventually make it to the bottom of the mountain still in one piece. I just hope Bob Osborne performs regular maintenance on his bike, because this looks like the type of road that could snap a tire clean off at any time. Blink and you'll miss it. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. Power Startup writes, IDK, what's up with this video? It's slowed down and the voice sounds poorly acted, but when she turns the camera back around, look at the left staircase. As the woman in the video addresses an unseen presence called Joey, the camera pans from a rickety old stair to a darkened window for a moment. It's when she turns back that viewers are seeing something unusual. Redditor Paratrax writes, that's a foot walking up the stairs, while others agree that it appears on the third step to the bottom near the railing. Is this Joey? If so, he's not in the basement. Lady, he'd be right beside you. TT Mando posted this video in 2008 of his ninja cat chasing a ghost around the living room. In the description, he writes, I've never really been a believer in ghosts, but my wife and I have two cats that used to always go nuts seeing things that we could not see. They would howl at the lights in our dining room and chase things around that were not there. It was really weird, so my one cat starts going nutty one night like he is seeing something. So I decided to try and shoot some footage, thinking maybe I can see what they are seeing through a camera. The video begins with the cat watching something floating in the air attentively. What is he staring at? While shooting the footage, the YouTuber switched between regular and night vision mode, which is when the ninja cat started climbing the walls. Literally, you can see that the cat has managed to climb to the top of a dresser and is looking up into the corner of the room. Whatever the cat has its eyes on must be moving all over the place because her gaze darts here and there. The cat then jumps down from its spot on the dresser to a scratching post. And then, as its eyes follow the invisible, it jumps up the wall and lands on the floor. It tries again, jumping up the door and managing to get its claws into the door frame. It looks up into the corner of the ceiling, its head still darting around. The cat hangs there for nearly an entire minute, seemingly enraptured by the ghost or spirit in its sights. Seriously, do you see anything there? Because I sure do. According to the YouTuber, a dot of light moved through the TV once he got his cat down from the door. The YouTuber points out the light that moves from the back to the front of the room. If you watch the video closely, you can see it too. The experience was apparently traumatic for this cat owner, who now sleeps with the covers over his head. Baby monitors sometimes capture that which we don't even know is there. This creepy clip was posted to r/ghosts by Zealous Ideal Call 53. It shows a monitor placed in a child's bedroom. The baby is playing while her guardian appears to be on her phone. All is normal until you turn up the sound. A growl of a voice snarls "help me" 3 times in a row at the beginning of the video. Neither the baby nor the young woman in the video appears to hear the voice. Is it crossed wires with a nearby baby monitor? Did someone hack the monitor's sound? Or is it an EVP capturing someone beyond crying out for help? The Redditor explains in the comments that this isn't the only strange occurrence in their house, and that paranormal events have regularly been happening since she was pregnant. The Redditor writes, "We've had another incident with her nanny cam and seeing a black shadow near her, an orb, and her suddenly waking up screaming. I've had issues in my own room with the feeling of someone watching me, breathing on my neck, severe night terrors, and missing items that suddenly return. Does this give more credence to the presence of a paranormal entity? My answer is yes."
A YouTuber named Dave World catches what in his words is a ghost standing in the middle of the road motionless. Or it could be a kid standing in the road to be weird, as somebody else points out. I thought this video looked familiar, and then I remembered this strange roadside encounter that Chills covered a while back. This is what a YouTuber named Joe Rob TV saw 2 years prior. I don't know if they are the same person or not, but both are standing with their arms behind their back in the exact same way, and have a bizarre long neck and big ears, so there's a strong chance. One video has short sleeves and the other has long sleeves. A ghost doesn't change clothes, so I don't think it's a ghost. I'll keep looking for videos of this strange highway humanoid, who I'm gonna call the Long Neck Man, and keep you updated.
YouTuber Hey Charmaine began posting about her experiences in her home. As her story unfolds, so does a terrifying truth shared by YouTube channel The Gravedigger. This scary video shows how Charmaine's horror story escalated. It all started with this strange object she found.
I got a bag of Pepperdine like 10 years ago, but it's modeled after the Bodhidharma, and I don't usually take it out.
After setting up security cameras in her room, she captured things moving unexpectedly. A few days later, while the dog was sitting for her friend, this happened.
Why are you whining, baby? Cooper, what are you staring at? Dude, there's nothing in the hallway.
Later, she captured a figure watching her home in the darkness of night, and then heard something inside. After deciding to go stay at her parents' house for a while, things escalated. Watch the doorway behind Charmaine.
You've been really nice enough to let me stay there, and
What was that thing?
Oh my god.
I'm not sure what this figure is, but it seems to be related to the mysterious object that Charmaine found. With all these strange events unfolding, Charmaine has lasted a lot longer here than I would have. Lainey and Ben's haunted house has turned up the intensity in recent months. Now things are levitating. Watch the lamp to the left. A little later, a cutlery drawer opens and closes in the kitchen. Then the tap turns on. You can hear the water running. It turns off and back on again. Shortly after, a strange, unexplained sound is heard. This is followed by some more strange noise, which sounds to me like a garbage disposal. Although all of the activity frightens me, the levitation in the beginning has me really hooked. It also has plenty of people really scared. Stay tuned for more fear.
What is that, dude?
A single strange light in the sky has a YouTuber named Jesse Tablebeast looking up with curiosity and horror.
Yeah, it's definitely flying, whatever it is.
He and his friend decide to drive towards this strange blinking light and investigate what it could be. This still image taken at 4 minutes and 58 seconds gives us a better look at it. A disc-like object floating in the air. There's an intense light coming from the bottom, and also a small circular dome on top. They don't know what it is, and neither does anyone else. A minute later, they are at the source of the light, which is much larger now, but still just as unexplained. They think the light is coming from a nearby power plant, but it's too dark and rainy to tell, so they go home without knowing for certain. This light, while bizarre, might be from a busted power generator, but if that were the case, then you'd think the light would be low to the ground and constant. The light is high in the air. Tell me what you think it is. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Shut up, Katie.
Katie. What the What the
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See?
What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns. It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. The next time you gaze up into the serene night sky, you might experience a feeling of panic instead of peace. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by After Performance 2. The Redditor explains that these strange lights were seen in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last year on July 19th. The lights were grouped in threes, and according to the Redditor, some disappeared before she could capture them on video. The video shows a trio of lights floating overhead in the sky, and a moment later, another trio closer to the horizon off in the distance. The sets of lights don't float in strict formation, but seem to each be wavering at their own pace. They then flicker and disappear. Redditor Professional Truck 3 suggests that these were paper lanterns lit and then launched from the beach, but the 70s kids negates that, saying if these were lanterns, they'd drift apart. Well, some say the wind is obviously taking the lanterns in the same direction. After Performance 2 theorizes that they're all going to the same destination. Another Redditor, Buster Blevins, chimes in proposing that this is not necessarily a unique occurrence. He wrote, "Last Friday, a bunch of people saw something very similar to this in northern Wisconsin. The lights would appear in groups of 3. And it was as if there was a pattern that looked like the light was traveling in a circle around something. Any other theories as to what these strange lights could be?" This worrisome video I'm about to show you was posted on March 18th of 2017 by a person who had been teetering on the edge of self-destruction for years.
Things are much worse this time. Something seems to be after me. I don't know what else to say. Except goodbye.
You'll never guess what he does next, but first let me tell you what he has been through. His psychological torment would begin in early 2015, approximately 2 years before his final goodbye. That was when someone began knocking at his door almost every night for days. He lives all alone and is a very private person, so introverted in fact that we never learn his name. For him to have a visitor is not normal, let alone in the middle of the night. The knocks were annoying at first, but he figured it would stop if he ignored it. But when that didn't work, he decided to start documenting everything early on, in case he needed to take it to the police or something later. He also decided to confront it and defend himself if need be. This incident, taken on February 12, 2015, starts with 2 knocks that are so soft, it would be easy to think you're imagining them. But after 3 weeks of harassment, he is frazzled and hears every noise, so he springs to action ready to meet force with force, but there's just one problem. Nothing is ever there to confront. Listen closely to this part, because I hear chatter after he locks up. He installs a second camera outside the very next night on February 13th, 2015, Friday the 13th to be exact. Sure enough, it starts again. He opens the door and no one's there. It's not 2 different videos put together either, because his movements in both videos sync perfectly, like at 1 minute and 15 seconds when he smooths his hair. Even if he practiced this routine, it still wouldn't be this dead on. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this happens at 3 a.m. every night. Anyone would want to move and he absolutely did, but his money situation meant he couldn't either continue to endure this or go homeless in the middle of the winter. Eventually, he decides to go outside before 3 a.m. and see if he can catch whatever or whoever is doing this on video. He doesn't see them, but he does find footprints leading away from his house into the woods. The footprint is separated in 2 halves, more like a hoof print than a foot, yet 2 legs instead of 4. Some people have said this could be a demon or even a cryptid. I don't know about all of that, but I know that he really did go out at 3 a.m. and I know this because I hear a train throughout the video. Oddly enough, this late night train is heard in all of his videos, and I think could be closely related. Something bad must have happened on the nearby tracks. By August 28th, whatever had left those footprints was looking for other ways inside both day and night. No longer was it confined to 3 a.m. Tell me if this is an animal or something way worse. I didn't hear any claws tapping. This was the sound of somebody fast. A raccoon or a possum would be doing this at nighttime. This was something big in the middle of the day, like a restless spirit. So after years of experiencing this and other similar encounters, perhaps you'll better understand why, after saying goodbye in March of 2017, he simply decided to open up the door and stop.
Goodbye.
Whatever that was, it sounded far from being a person. Over 2 years later, this mysterious final video was uploaded on January 1st, 2019. Those sound like church bells. Maybe this is a clip taken from a funeral. Could it be his? And whoever typed these replies doesn't act like him at all. This mother is relaxing on the patio when a loud boom startles her pretty badly. No, I said loud. The boom is so large it rocks the camera and briefly lights up the room despite it being in the middle of the day. I really hope Chris knew what he was doing because that sounded like it was way too close to the house. An ownerless shadow is in this alley. Moments later, a motorbike moves all by itself for almost 10 seconds before dropping hard. This incident is being mislabeled as a paranormal video as far as I'm concerned. Here's why. A strong wind blows through this drafty alley, so maybe a gust of wind popped up the kickstand and sent the bike in motion. Likewise, the shadow could be a result of this thing flapping overhead. Overall, I'm 50-50 on the legitimacy of this creepy moment, so help me decide if this bizarre street cam video is really paranormal. A disturbing shadow is settling over this room. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit. Kenton Bryant Music writes, "My buddy had his motion sensor go off for this. It never goes off unless his dog walks in front of the camera. The only problem? The dog was locked in the bedroom at the time." This was captured on his friend's Wise security camera in February of 2020. The video shows a darkened room with a light source at one end. A dark shadow sweeps into view, covering the light source briefly before disappearing from sight. The strangest part about this is that the shadow seems not to touch the ground. Is it flying? Redditor Gucci the God says that it could be lights from a passing car, coupled with a low light capture of the camera. But the OP nixes this idea, saying there's no window there and the driveway is private. Some in the comments think this is legit paranormal footage. This really looks like a shadow figure to me. What do you think? Any other explanations? This home footage was taken at the end of 2016 in rural Pennsylvania. A man grows tired of the strange noises coming from his basement and decides to investigate with a camera. According to him, it always sounds like something is running up the steps at full speed, but nothing ever comes through the door when it reaches the top. The man is confident that he will be able to scare off whatever it is that's lurking below. He opens the door and goes down the steps without a weapon.
Alright, here we go. Hello? I know I hear you down here. I know I heard you. Holy oh my dude! I just saw it. Holy man.
Instead of running away, he chases after the shadowy figure. The camera pans around the basement only to reveal that he is now alone. I guess it wouldn't be too hard to have someone dressed in all black and peek around a corner, so this video could be fake. Then again, this video could be genuine evidence of an actual shadow person. As for the original uploader, he says that he and his family no longer feel safe in their home. They're now looking to move someplace else. May 17th, 2006 at 8:12 p.m., the Monterey Witch of Mexico was caught on video flying just above the Mexican hills. She glides above the ground, just as you would imagine a witch to fly through the air, floating through the sky serenely. There's a good several yards between her and the hills below, with plenty of blue between. After the clear view of her dark shape against the skyline, her profile is shown as a white speck against the green hills as she skates across a canyon. The video goes on for a good 2 minutes, and it doesn't appear to be a hoax as the being traverses the cliffs. The figure is tall and cylindrical, flying across a very windy canyon, which makes some UFO researchers believe that it can't be normal. It must be paranormal. Diana Perla Chapa, a UFO group leader and researcher from Monterey and a popular Mexican TV host and UFO investigator, confirms this. Experts say that there is no way something could move so steadily because it's a very windy canyon, she said, speaking at the Mutual UFO Network of Los Angeles conference. Fausto Perez believes he has forged a spiritual connection with an extraterrestrial. He sets up a camera to demonstrate his capabilities and waits for a response.
Beings in the sky come to me, give me a sign, help me advance to a higher level of consciousness, let me see you.
Less than 10 minutes later, he and his team spot a foreign white square twisting in the wind. This is what he affectionately refers to as a flying carpet, as it's apparently just one of the many regular visitors he receives from the sky. Whatever this square-shaped object is, it has to be absolutely huge to be visible from this far away. Only one of the cameras manages to catch it. Overall, no one can say for sure if this is a real encounter or a mere coincidence. If Fausto is wrong about this extraterrestrial sighting, then I have no idea what it could actually be. This video, titled "The Cave of Screaming Terror," sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.